this gentleman was caught and stopped?
I got it. Okay. Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
And so, yes, as you are all aware at this point, there was a second attempt or attempted attempt on Donald Trump's life. Thankfully, the suspect is in custody. Nobody was injured. Donald Trump was not injured. And so let's talk about what we know at this point. You saw there that he was only 300 to 500 yards away, which still seems pretty far, but anyone can get access to weapons that are still very accurate at that distance. And no, after 2 attempts on Donald Trump's life with these exact sort of weapons, I don't expect anyone will be calling for them to be banned. For some reason, they just want people to, like, whoever's gonna do the 3rd attempt or whatever needs to have the best equipment possible, I guess. Seems weird to me. I would prefer that nobody have access to these sorts of weapons, but I don't expect the right that is going to be interested in that at this point.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
And we're gonna get to the response of a lot of people, especially including Donald Trump. And his response really comes in 2 phases, so stay tuned for that. But interestingly, we got information about the apparent attempted assassin much quicker this time around than the second time. So he's been identified as Ryan Wesley Routh, 3-part name, so it fits the historic precedent of attempted assassins. And he's being investigated. He had an AR-style rifle, of course, with a scope. And some of the information about his background has come out very quickly. Now, obviously, we'll talk more about the guy from the first attack, but in this case, he has ties to North Carolina. He apparently affiliated in 2012. He was an unaffiliated voter without a party in 2012. He voted in the state's Democratic primary in March of this year, and has donated or has contributed more than $100 to Act Blue, which generally processes donations for Democrats. That said, he previously voted for Donald Trump back in June of 2020. He appeared to say that he'd voted for Trump in 2016, but that he had since withdrawn his support of the former president, saying, quote, "While you were my choice in 2016, I and the world hoped that President Trump would be different and better than the candidate, but we were all greatly disappointed, and it seems you are getting worse and devolving. I will be glad when you are gone." And there's several references, including in what appears to be a self-published book where he talked openly about assassination of Donald Trump for some time. So had been unaffiliated in 2016, was a fan of Donald Trump, apparently didn't like him as president. And some of the sort of scattered, more recent information we had the voting in the Democratic primary. In 2020, he apparently, or more recently, I guess, since 2020, he wanted a ticket of Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley, which is a weird pairing, considering Vivek Ramaswamy wants to be a MAGA guy and Nikki Haley's the exact opposite. He apparently also has expressed support for former Representative Tulsi Gabbard in a number of posts back in 2020. So had liked Trump, then didn't like Trump, but liked a guy who wanted to be the next Trump and Tulsi Gabbard, but also Nikki Haley, who's kind of like a never Trump Republican. So it's a little bit mixed up. Some of you might come away from this thinking that he's out of his mind. Well, he tried to assassinate a former president, so I think that's sort of a foregone conclusion. But that's the information that we have as of right now, at least. God knows what will come out in the near future, Francesca, but what do you make of it?
I mean, a clear Kamala Harris surrogate paid for by the DNC. That is obvious in the bio that you just laid out. That is what we will be hearing from the right for a very long time about this, because they have seemed to be like a shade bluer of affiliations than the previous attempted assassin. But a former Trump voter? That's fun. You know, there's 2 things that I have to say about this, which is obviously you should not shoot people. Maybe there's 3 things. But it's very interesting that in a time of incredible violent speech and rhetoric coming from one particular man and one particular movement that has an actual body count. They love to talk about the Hillary Clinton body count. Trump and MAGA do have an actual body count, whether it's Heather Heyer at the Unite the Right rally, right? Whether it's Capitol Police officers on January 6th, on and on and on. Like whether it is the people who've been inspired by Donald Trump. I'm saying this again and again, like the Tree of Life synagogue shooter who said Donald Trump doesn't go far enough in terms of his the political violent rhetoric, right? We need to speed things up. Let me massacre a bunch of elderly Jewish worshipers. So the fish rots from the head down. And that is Donald Trump, who inspires this kind of behavior and who's made our country a vastly more violent place just to live in. And the final thing, John, and you said it, is the access to weapons. There's crazy people all over, right? If you want to assassinate someone, look, the former president of Japan was assassinated, it was stabbed, right? That is absolutely possible. But you can't get within stabbing distance when you're behind a fence outside of one of his golf clubs, right?
Yeah.
When you have a gun, when you have all of the weaponry that one would normally use in war among the American public, that suddenly becomes a lot easier. But yes, I mean, if we don't do it for kindergartners, if we don't do it for our children who do, lone wolf shooter drills every single month, like who are we gonna do this for?
Yeah, look, we'll get to the response and everything. So I'm gonna ask. I don't like to tell people what to do on this show. Obviously, I'm very opinionated, but I don't like to tell people what to do. But I would just recommend stop trying to kill Donald Trump. Just don't. I mean, let's say don't kill anyone. At the very least, stop trying to kill people that you disagree with. Stop trying to kill political leaders. Like I would love if we could have an extended period of time in America where there's no political violence, no attempted assassinations, no, cracking open the skull of the husband of a speaker, no coups, none of that. That would be great, I think. America has been plagued by political violence for a very long time. The trend for several decades was right-wingers trying to assassinate left-wing figures. Now right-wingers are also, for some reason, trying to assassinate right-wing figures. I don't know why conservatives, okay, you don't like Trump anymore. You want Vivek Ramaswamy. You don't have to kill Trump. I don't think that helps Nikki Haley in this election. Now look, obviously these people are not gonna listen to us. They're conservatives. They're not interested in what we have to say. But we have mental illness in this country. We have tons of guns in this country. And we have been saying for a very long time that is a terrible mix. We have been trying to get people across the political spectrum to take as seriously as we do, and they have refused to. It would be cool if you could do that now. And by the way, it might seem like super easy to just say, hey, let's not normalize political violence. Let's stop it. It is easy for some people. I would love it if those on the right would catch up to us in not calling for this sort of stuff. Some of them now temporarily kind of have an issue with it because it's directly impacting Donald Trump. But I would like it just in general if we could stop trying to harass, torment, dox, beat, stalk, or kill the people we disagree with.
Starting with trans teens and the libs
Also
of TikTok fearmongers, starting with the people who are fearmongering right now about Haitians in Springfield, causing that town to lock down. I mean, just on and on and on. Like, when are they getting, it's a fire, John. Like they're stoking the flames of a fire. It's very funny to stand near a fire that you just started and be like, ha ha ha, this fire will never touch me.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Insert leopard eating face party or whatever.
Exactly.
Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.